Neptown Tuner here. We've got a 2.0T FSI. This is a first generation 4-cylinder direct injected Audi engine. Right? It's pretty similar to the 1.8T. It's still belt drive in the front. It's still got a chain in the back. Let's just do an oil change. It's just an oil change video, but I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. It's not just a basic oil change. I'm gonna test the oil extraction methods in this video. So I've got the nice pump oil extractor here. It's the upgraded Harbor Freight version if you're curious, just because sometimes it's easy to go there and get stuff. I prefer quality tools, but certain things I'm part of the problem too, you know. I don't sit here and advertise for Harbor Freight though. What we've got is an actual oil dipstick from the factory in this one. You can still order these for the TFSI, the second generation, the generation I mess with. Just order one. What I'm gonna do is, I always like to take the oil cap off, and for instance, I just threw it to the side. No, don't. Always take your oil cap off and put it right here. You can always usually put it right here. Now, some cars you can't. Some cars it's irresponsible to put it right there because it might fall down and get lost, right? In that case, put it in your shirt pocket. Yep, it's in your good old shirt pocket. And then if you forget it in your shirt pocket, you're an absolute idiot. All right, so this one has an oil filter, a cartridge filter on the bottom, so we gotta jack it up anyway. But to test this oil extractor, we're going to do it in a two-step method. I'm still going to extract the oil from the dipstick funnel. That's a weird, funny thing that they call it, but I would call it the dipstick tube. Technically, specifically the 1.8T, I remember they've called it a dipstick funnel. It's got a little half plastic that you pop on. It's really weird design. You Audi VW people know exactly what I'm talking about. You've had to replace many of them. That was before they started applying vacuum. I guess I better show you the pump, what I'm actually doing. That was before they started applying vacuum to the entire engine. They did that on the direct injected cars. This thing actually does move pretty fast. It's there's the scale. We're at pushing 3 quarts already, and there's still plenty of vacuum. It's cooking with grease now. We're almost 4. It'll start gurgling soon. You hear that? See that pipe jostling? I always do this. All right, it's full air now. There's not even any more chugging. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, since on this particular vehicle, the lift, I'm just gonna lift it on one side. Be very careful with your lift arms if you do something like this. You don't want to put it in the wrong spot, and I knew my lift arms were out of the way on this side. Now the vehicle's tilted because the oil dipstick is on this side. So let's see if any more comes out now. All air, not a single drop came through this hose. I was watching it, and I got this thing tilted pretty good. So Now I'm gonna jack it up and I'm gonna pull the drain plug and we're gonna see if anything comes out of the oil pan, because I need to get the oil filter off from the bottom anyway. Now we gotta take this old belly pan off. It's got the wrong hardware on it, of course. So, what in the world kind of crazy hardware size is this? Some 5/16, some 7/8, carpenter screws. Wow. There's the Zeus buttons. 3 of them. Now, did I mention that I spent a while getting this thing to operating temperature and churning up the oil and getting it nice and hot so it would come out fast and smooth? I remember being so ignorant and dumb and young that I thought that that was a waste of time and that that wouldn't really do much. Oh. That might seem like common sense, but I learned a lot since then. How much confidence do I have in the oil extraction method? I'm about to take the drain plug out and just let it pour, but I still need to catch this, because there's gonna be something whenever I take this oil filter off. If it was a top cartridge filter or a top metal filter or anything top loaded, I would have taken it off first thing, because sometimes there's oil in that circuit and it takes a while once you take the filter off for it to drain back down, and you want that to have time to do that while you do other stuff. So this is a 19mm plug, and I wonder how much of a fool this thing's gonna make of me. It's the moment of truth. Nothing yet. Whoa. I was not expecting that. Whoopsie daisies. Whoopsie daisies. We gotta get this oil filter out anyway. I might as well just make another mess. But before that, check out this box I got. Well, looks like we're getting ready to do a transmission flush sometime soon. Yep. I'm pretty sure it's something big. Oh man, it's missing the cap. There's usually a screw-on cap, and also it's a good idea to get this motor mount connector out of the way. In my case, I got a rather large breaker bar and a rather large extension. And I'm just gonna get away from my work, because it's so much easier to get away from your work and just like so. And it turns into an easy ordeal. What a mess. Why Why such a messy engine? It's on my arm. It's all over the place. Now it's all over the subframe. What a mess. There it goes again. Why would anyone buy a car with such a silly oil change? Unplugging a motor mount and there's not even, they didn't even, whoa, about dropped it and it's spilling hot oil on my fingers. All right. Gotta put a new cartridge filter in it. Gotta wash my hands first. Y'all wanna know how to do it, so I'll show it to you. First off, you wanna make sure that this insert is in there. For instance, this is supposed to have a screw-in cap. It's still pull, oil's all over me. It's supposed to have a cap that screws on the end, and that's missing. So that's not really a good deal. It's supposed to have a little plastic strap that kind of hangs. It's missing. I just hate that kind of stuff, but apparently it's still fine. This is the new O-ring. The old one, you can get your pair of duckbill pliers. It works the best, and you can stick it in there, and you just pull it right out like that. Now you just take the new one, and you just toss it back in, nothing fancy. Just make sure it's in its groove. It's not pushing out. And you just toss your new filter in, and now you can load it back up in there. Don't forget your motor mount. Now the extensive cleaning process. I wouldn't be a good guy unless I followed it up by a nice hand dry. Maybe even some compressed air. And up here, just petting the subframe. It's a good boy. It's a good Audi. Good Quattro. He likes his belly rubbed. Okay. Now you see, friends, that's to make sure that no droplets come out before the customers might conceive that the car might have oil leak virus. So you want to, if you don't have the double mask of the splash pan, the diaper for the undercarriage, then friends, you have to have the splash pan mask. But beware of the oil droplet virus. Those screws I was taking out, the good old 5/16, they got their own special clip nuts that they put in. So we're just gonna roll with those. The dipstick. This one has one. So it's usually not a good idea to keep it inserted. See, we extracted with it, so we removed it anyway. But when you're doing work around and in the engine bay, it's usually a good idea to pop it out and put it to the side. Or, you know, still something like this, I could still say for you to put it somewhere like this or this or this. But no matter where you put it, you could still drop it, lose it, whatever. So this is just something you're gonna have to put an emphasis on or something. I don't know. Or maybe you just break dipsticks, or maybe you just think it's a stupid idea that I say take it out and move it to the side anyway, because maybe you never bump into it and you never have broke a dipstick before. If that's the case, that's the case. But remember, we got our shirt pocket oil cap. No, we don't put the oil cap yet on, dummy. We gotta put oil in it. Don't ever put the oil cap back on before you put the oil back in it. Come on. In this episode, we're trying out none other than the 0W40 full synthetic Valvoline. Did you hear that pop top? Then we got a roll top, and then we got the perfect pour with the tilt. We want to see the emblem. I'll get you there. Just like that. Now we're gonna run it up just a little bit to get the fluid flowing through the oil filter and all the cavities and recesses. Did you hear that old girl clicking and clacking and howling and hollering? All right, now we gotta check the oil level in the dipstick, and the engine was still at operating temperature. You know, it cooled down a little bit, but that's another real good reason why you want it to operating temperature before you do the oil change, because now you can verify the oil level so much faster because the engine is hot enough to get the oil hot that you just poured in it, and it's gonna go back to the level faster. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, you're an idiot. We are at a perfect 5-quart fill. It's right here. I'll check it one more time for you. We'll see if we can. You know, the engine got 150,000 miles on it. It's not gonna look, it's clean oil. It's not gonna look brand new. You can't get every single drop out. There's still about a 1/2 quart to maybe a little bit more than a 1/2 quart that you can't get out of the engine no matter what. Unless you take it apart and do pistons. But that is a satisfactory oil change, my friends. And you hope you learned something about the oil extractor and how you can get just a little bit more out. In this particular case, by taking the plug out, and probably in most cases. I'll do one on the TFSI next. Subscribe.